Morning, everybody. So I have the privilege of talking to Jasson Mendoza. He's a local real estate agent, and want to start a quick series, basically 15 minutes, something quick and easy that just establishes the fact that at a young age you can actually come in and do quite well being a business owner in the Northern Nevada market. So, Jason, if you want to go ahead and introduce yourself, brother.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you guys for having me, Roberto. So, as you mentioned, my name is Jasson Mendoza. I just turned 26 here, April of this year. I just got into real estate about 13, 14 months ago. And so far, like you mentioned, it's been a roller coaster, lots of ups and downs, but a ton of learning throughout the way. So I'm thankful for all the experiences so far.
So the thing that I want to cover on these videos is really pretty simple, right? So three different items. What has been the challenges, I guess, starting out in the last 16 months? What are some of your successes that you feel that you've accomplished? And what do you think are you going to be your next milestones? What do you think, either whether it's 6 months out, 9 months out, 2 years out? Just talk to us a little bit about exactly how you feel about that. I think the hardest thing when you're young is to understand how big the scope of starting a new business, some of the challenges, and what you feel in your heart has been some of the really cool things about being a business owner and moving forward.
Okay, yeah. So we'll start off with some challenges that when we first started off. So a couple of challenges that I came across, at least from my experiences, relationships. Me being 26, a lot of them, the people that I grew up with, also being around my age group, a lot of them are not really kind of necessarily thinking in maybe a similar aspect that I'm kind of trying to focus on. A lot of first time home buyers, it's kind of hard to buy a home in this market, and a lot of my people just don't have the right assets to be able to qualify for something like that. So it was more than anything trying to create new relationships to where I can actually start off and get the ball rolling as soon as I got into the industry. So that means networking with older people, people with a little bit more of a qualified criteria to be able to actually for me to provide them service in this market. But overall, that's been also the best part of the journey so far is me actually getting out of my comfort zone and having to go out there and meet people who I'm not necessarily used to interacting with. So it's been the biggest challenge, but so far it's also been some of my best experiences yet, and I'm very thankful for it.
What do you think it took for I guess, the ramp up period? I think everybody has that question about, does it take couple days, weeks, months, years? What has been your feeling about that initial challenge of meeting new people with opportunities, abilities, and the things that you're looking for, obviously, to make the building work?
For sure, I'd say it's not an overnight thing. I think it's for sure going to take a couple weeks, months. For me, I was very blessed to be able to kind of start off with some traction from the beginning from past relationships, and also started off in the industry with my brother. So that gave me a lot of extra of a boost to have people trusting me, knowing that I got somebody who's experienced, that is backing up and watching over everything that I do. So that has helped me a lot, with the confidence side of things, and I think that definitely helped sped things up. And honestly, I think the first couple months is going to take quite some time to kind of start getting the ball rolling more than anything.
Yeah, I think you hit it right on the head. Family is one of those things that either um, is going to firm up exactly who you are culturally, as well as hopefully give you some of the pointers. I know that in getting out of the office every day, the hardest thing is to understand where are the pitfalls, where are the things that are going to make the conversations either more productive or less cumbersome. I think I've been in sales for 25 plus years, and I always find it interesting how breaking the ice sometimes can be challenging for anybody. So,
Yeah.
um, what are some of the key things that you did, I guess, in starting the relationship part of it for yourself?
So for me personally, I started trying to hang out in areas that I normally wouldn't hang out in. I'm kind of a homebody. I just like to work all the time. But like you said, sometimes, this job requires you to leave the office, leave your home, and go out and actually meet people face to face. So I started doing that a lot more. And honestly, I'm still trying to get a grasp of the relationship aspect. Actually, I'm seeking out some mentorship to try to help me out in those particular avenues. But something that personally has worked for me personally was I just start off with a lot of cold calling and trying to get good over the phones, and that's been my source of business as of these last couple of months. But like I said, I want to transfer that over to uh, just doing more referral based stuff off of the relationships that I build. So I've been kind of just resorting to meeting up with my friends a little bit more and just not being such a lone wolf, because I kind of like doing my own thing, and I got to break those patterns and actually be okay with sometimes put in time and energy into my sphere of influence and seeing that as me still being productive, because I kind of have like this. That's the biggest challenge. Also, going to back to the first question is going from this is not a productive thing to it's still productive, because I always feel like I need to be on the go, and that's something that I definitely have to change mentally before I can actually start being okay with doing that a lot more.
Have you and your brother gone, I always said that in sales, if you can either find somebody to team up with, that's great. Just emulate exactly what they do, how they do it, how they sound, even some of the body language, or find somebody honestly that you just want to beat. I think in sales, being competitive, you see the guy behind me back here, he always talked heavily about competition. And did you guys ever work together for some of the events? Obviously, there's a lot of events here in Northern Nevada that you can go to and just kind of, expand your sphere of influence.
Yeah, so I did take a lot of things from my brother. I feel like obviously, he was kind of starting up his own team. So to a certain aspect, I did pick up a lot of things that he was doing, but at the same time, he didn't want two things that were necessarily doing the exact same thing in the system. So I kind of try to do my own thing as well. So I didn't want to be a complete duplicate of him, because obviously that would kind of start to mess things up with the system. I had to be my own, had to have my own specialty basically. So, but I did pick up, like you said, a lot of things as far as like the way he talks and then a lot of the body language that he has. So little things like
Yeah.
that definitely help.
Perfect. So let me ask you this. And I guess in one of the triumphs that you had, do you have a story or an instance where you didn't realize that you were basically already in the opportunity to do a transaction with either a friend, somebody that was introduced to you, or a business owner, that you can kind of speak to real quick?
An opportunity.
Yeah, sales transaction in the last 12 months, one of the successes, because I think the hardest thing is breaking the ice.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, a success, I would say, was recently actually I did a cold call. It was a Spanish cold call. My Spanish is so, I can sharpen it up a little bit more still. That's another thing I've been trying to practice a lot more, and actually connected with this guy over a Spanish cold call. But when I met him up, it was kind of hard to communicate, as confidently as I would in English. So I still kind of just try to do my best. And I think the guy kind of just still, picked up the sincerity and the genuineness I came in with, and he gave me the opportunity. And funny thing is, this guy's house was hard to finance because it's been moved more than once. You know how that goes. You 20%
Yes, sir.
down, and it was a difficult transaction. But coincidentally, I called up another cold call a while back that was having an issue that this could potentially solve, because the guy who the second guy, if I'm not losing you here, he didn't have any credit, and he had just sold his single wide, and
Hmm.
he had a good amount of proceeds from that transaction, and he was able to put a good chunk of change for the down payment, but he couldn't get any financing. So I asked the first guy I met up with if he'd be willing to owner carry the remaining, and he said yes. So it was a win-win for both of them, and that was a huge success for me, because I happened to take two Spanish speakers that were, big challenges. Like I said, I mean, the Spanish
And
language
they
is,
didn't know each other. That was you connecting the dots, right?
yeah. And once again, two Spanish speakers. So in my head, I'm like, man, am I gonna be able to do this with one guy, because my Spanish isn't even that good? But thankfully, I was able to help out two Spanish speakers and put them together, and it was a win for both of them. So they came out super, super happy at the end of the transaction. So that's a big
Yeah,
success that happened within the last month.
that's awesome. Yeah, work ethic can't be replaced. You never know in working a room, or the phones, or emails, or even Facebook sometimes, when a particular situation that you put together, a month before, 2 months before, how will actually come full down the road and actually help you out. And it all builds, every little metric that you do every day, I think helps us to get started and get moving in that direction. So to finish up, let me ask you, obviously, um, you come from a big family, very well known in the area. Obviously, you're doing well. And we are having some challenges in the market right now because obviously rates are doing what they're doing. And it's definitely taking a little bit more grit to get people in a contract, either whether they're selling or buying. What are your next milestones over the next 6 months, 12 months, 18 months when they're talking about that? That's kind of the window of time when things are going to go.
I'm telling a lot of my buyers, honestly, that if they're in a desperate position to where they have to move, then by all means we can make something happen. And if numbers make sense, then it's not a bad time. But I'm advising a lot of them maybe to kind of just hold off, honestly, to the beginning of next year, maybe second quarter, maybe third quarter, if they're not in a crazy desperate position to move. But more than anything, I want to seek out some mentorship. So I might be maybe switching brokerages. It's up in the air right now to where I can have, one of the top producers here in Reno, Nevada, maybe mentor me along the way as far as like, how to continue to connect with your database and past clients. And so we're going to make some goal planning with him. And I just want to obviously do better than I did this past year. So maybe do like a little bit more transactions than I set for myself here for 2022. But we're going to start planning that for maybe, like I said, the end of this year. I haven't necessarily actually sat down and came up with a full game plan for next year just yet. But I think for sure it's going to be based around, relationships and staying in touch with the past clients, and just so I can scale up a little bit more of a bigger business that way.
Yeah, no, I think that's exactly a great plan. Listen, the nice thing is that since folks are thinking about more about what they're going to be doing, instilling the relationship aspect of things is crucial because you just never know where things are going to come from. You know what I'm saying? The opportunities are still out there. There's still a lot of growth in the area, tons of building, and whatever we can do to add value. I think that's the one thing, especially for young people in the community, whether you're a business owner or, somebody that's looking to get started. And even with the transition, I, definitely commend you on looking for mentorship. I think the hardest thing to do is to always be humble, to always keep grinding, always keep growing, and give yourself that humility to understand that there's always different ways to get things done in order to maximize, who you are competitively, who you are in the community, and everything else. So, what areas of the of town do you normally like to work in? Anything particularly you'd like to tell anybody out there that we can share, for you and come for next year?
Yeah, all in Northern Nevada, really. I'll go wherever the opportunity is. If it takes going out to Fallon, Yarrington, Silver Springs, I'm always
A lot
up
of good
for.
stuff.
Yeah, so wherever the opportunity is, I'm all open to Northern Nevada. I'm not too specific on just Reno Sparks. I'll just go wherever the opportunity is and whoever can benefit from my services, really. So I'm not, somebody who would go ahead and shy away from any opportunities because it's an hour or two away. I don't mind making the drive.
Okay. And then are you on Instagram, Facebook? Do you have different handles that people can reach out to say hello and maybe get some mentorship from you
Yeah.
for what you've done so far?
Yeah, Facebook. My name Jasson Mendoza, but obviously it's spelled with two S's, Jasson. And same thing with Instagram, Jasson Mendoza, or my actual handle is Jason with two S's, and then Dreams, Jason Dreams with the Z at the end. Kind of sounds like chasing dreams.
Cool, man. Cool. No, listen, hey, the cool part is it's easy to get on here. Really appreciate the time, brother. And anything that we can do to help out here at United Federal, we do a lot of different things that are based on more portfolio lending and relationship based stuff. So definitely appreciate the opportunity, and I hope you have a successful week this week. And anybody out there, definitely reach out to Jasson if you have any questions, especially if you're looking to get into the market. It's super impactful to understand exactly some of the steps in order to become a business owner, an entrepreneur, and even a young Latino business owner. Different challenges. You would think that they're identically the same, but I think sometimes even language and culture can be a bit more complex to deal with. But we're definitely here to help, and love the opportunity to keep Northern Nevada moving in the right direction. So Jason, hey, thank you so much for everything, brother. Let me know if I can do anything. Hopefully I'll see you at some of the events around town, and take care, man.
Most definitely. Thank you, Roberto. Wish you a successful week as well.
All right, buddy.
Thank you.